This is Jerry Tuttle from Southern New Hampshire University, and I'm going to talk on math on The Simpsons. Is there anyone who's never seen even one episode of The Simpsons? The cartoon series has been on TV since 1989 and is well known for its adult humor and sarcasm. Less well known is how much math appears on the show. While the first three writers are famous comedians, Conan O'Brien, Seth Rogen, Ricky Gervais, other writers are holders of graduate degrees in math, physics, and computer science from prestigious schools. Writers like to slip in math jokes, sometimes as quick visual jokes that only appear apparent by watching in slow motion. Here is the first overt math joke from season 1. Bart cheats on an intelligence test, is declared a genius, and is sent to a school for gifted children. Although Bart is only 10, the teacher says, y equals r cubed over 3, and if you determine the rate of change correctly, you will be pleasantly surprised. So what's the joke? So y equals r cubed over 3, dy equals 3r squared dr over 3 equals r squared dr equals r dr r. Hardy har har. This is a variation of the Nelson Muntz sarcastic laugh. This one is not original with The Simpsons, but even I have a shirt that says this. Homer appears to be laughing at it, but he's actually laughing at a dog with a box on its head. Find the next symbol in this sequence. I'm generally not fond of these find the next number in the sequence problems because any number can be the next number. I can show negative 14 follows logically after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because it satisfies the polynomial y equals x minus 1 times x minus 2 times x minus 3 times x minus 4 times x minus 5 times negative 20 over 120 plus x. Anyway, Lisa's lunch has this sequence of symbols. Anyone see the pattern? Martin Prince got it. So the answer is that the left and right halves of each symbol are mirror images of each other. Incidentally, when Bart advises Martin to sit in the back row so no one can see what you're doing, Martin reframes this as, the potential for mischief varies inversely to one's proximity to the authority figure. Homer occasionally spouts some mathematics, and this one follows Homer discovering former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger's eyeglasses that fell in the toilet. Of course, this theorem is incorrect for several reasons. This is an incorrect theorem borrowed from where? The Wizard of Oz gave the Scarecrow a Doctor of Thinkology, and it is not known whether the error in the Wizard of Oz movie is due to the Scarecrow deliberately flubbing the line or due to an unintentional script error. Lisa, at age 8, knows way too much math for her tender age. After being bullied by a girl, Lisa tries to learn why bullies pick on geeks and nerds. She makes a hypothesis, collects sweat data from her geek friends, and she concludes that geeks emit a scent that attracts bullies. She rubs the scent on a professional boxer, and school bully Nelson attacks him. If you look closely, you'll see that all Simpson characters have only 8 fingers. So do Disney characters. And the last time I was at Disneyland, I asked Mickey Mouse about this, but he didn't reply. I believe the reason is that it is easier to draw. So if Simpson characters have base 8, why doesn't Springfield have a base 8 numbering system? And why not base 8? Is it possible that numbers were not invented by cartoon writers, but by some higher power? So who is the only character in The Simpsons with 10 digits? Well, it turns out God is the only character with 10 fingers, but he has 8 toes. The local Mensa group, including Lisa, take control of the town with various unpopular schemes. One decision is to adopt a metric time system using base 10 instead of base 12. So why couldn't we have a metric time system? Think about that one. This episode included physicist Stephen Hawking guest starring as himself. These three numbers appear on the jumbo vision screen at a baseball game. Surely they are not arbitrary. Do you recognize any of them? So what is special about these three numbers? 8191 is a Mersenne prime. It's a prime of the format of t raised to the p minus 1 for some prime p. 8128 is a perfect number because it's the sum of its proper divisors. Other perfect numbers are 6 and 28. 8208 is a narcissistic number. It's the sum of its digits raised to the power of the number of its digits. The digits are used to generate the number itself, and so the number is in love with itself. In the storyline, the glamorous Tabitha Vicks was having marital problems with her baseball player husband. Tabitha hijacks the jumbo vision screen, and no doubt she considers herself perfect and in her prime, and she is also a narcissist. Here, Lisa and Bart are playing the game rock, paper, scissors. This is a hand game to settle a dispute similar to flipping a coin. The game originated in China. There are numerous variations worldwide, and there is a version on the Big Bang TV show that adds two more choices of Spock and Lizard. One real-world use of rock, paper, scissors was a Florida court case involving an insurance company. It's impossible to gain an advantage over an opponent in rock, paper, scissors when the opponent chooses their move at random. However, you can gain an advantage if you can predict their move. Lisa knows Bart prefers rock, the most popular throw in general and the favorite among boys. So Lisa throws paper to beat Bart's likely rock. This topic is part of game theory. Is this something we teach? In this episode, somehow Homer needs to take the baby, the dog, and the poison across the river, but he can only take one at a time. This is the famous river crossing problem with many variations like the wolf, goat, and cabbage, the missionaries and cannibals, three couples with jealous husbands, etc. The assumptions are you can only take one of baby, dog, and poison in a rowboat at a time. You can't leave the baby alone with poison, and you can't leave the baby alone with the dog. So you can find a solution such as the following by trial and error, and it's not the only solution. There's a nice graph theory solution where each vertex of a cube denotes the left or right side of the river state of the order triple dog, baby, poison. You want to start from the lower left where dog, baby, poison are all on the left side of the river and move to the upper right vertex of the cube where dog, baby, poison are all on the right side of the river. You eliminate the cube edges of bad moves, and then you find the remaining edges that get you to the side of the cube that you want. In this episode, Homer decides to become an inventor like Thomas Edison, and the episode title, Wizard of Evergreen Terrace, is a play on Edison's nickname, the Wizard of Menlo Park. Some of the episode on the TV show actually takes place in Edison's West Orange, New Jersey museum. Ironically, West Orange is the last city I lived in before relocating to Fort Myers. In this episode, Homer writes some complicated equations on a chalkboard that I'll discuss in a moment. Equations 1 and 3 are physics, though, and will not be discussed. Topology is a math subject of geometric objects that are twisted and stretched without tearing or opening or closing holes. The old topology joke is that a topologist can't tell the difference between a coffee cup and a donut because one can be reshaped into the other. In Homer's line, he surprisingly turns a donut into a sphere, which is not topologically valid because cutting is forbidden, but he says nibbling is allowed. This is perhaps the greatest Simpson mathematical joke. Homer writes on the blackboard, 3987 raised to the 12th plus 4365 raised to the 12th equals 4472 raised to the 12th. This is quickly recognized as related to Fermat's last theorem that states no three positive integers a, b, and c satisfy a to the n plus b to the n equals c to the n for any integer greater than 2. For n equals 2, this is related to the Pythagorean theorem. Fermat posed this in 1637, and it remained unsolved until British mathematician Andrew Wiles proved it in 1995 in a 129-page paper. This episode aired in 1998. Is it possible Homer has found a counterexample to Fermat's last theorem? So I encourage you to try this in Excel. Try 3987 raised to the 12th plus 4365 raised to the 12th, and then compare that to 4472 raised to the 12th. They look equal, although the equality fails at one more digit than Excel shows. The Simpson writer is supposed to have cycled through values of a, b, c, and n to find the smallest positive error. So in conclusion, are storytelling and mathematical reasoning really so different? A mathematical argument or a business project tells a story. The writer needs to convince the audience of the conclusions, sometimes in an appropriately entertaining way. Did you know that the Society of Actuaries holds a biannual actuarial fiction contest to permit actuaries to attempt to use the other side of their brains? Finally, I borrowed much of this from a book, The Simpsons and Their Mathematical Secrets, and I did steal a lot of images. The images are copyrighted, but I am using them here under principles of fair use for a mathematical purpose. Thank you very much for listening. Any questions?